Is the UFC upset over Francis Ngannou's recent success against Tyson Fury? Not very long ago, Ngannou was the heavyweight champion of the UFC, but since the promotion didn't allow him to compete in boxing, he decided to part ways with them. Ngannou was offered a multi-million-dollar contract, but he still said no. Once Ngannou parted ways with the UFC in January of 2023, many said he had fumbled the bag. In late October, Ngannou bagged his biggest career payday when he went toe-to-toe and blow-for-blow with arguably the best heavyweight boxer in the world, Tyson Fury. Ngannou landed the better strikes, surprised the boxing ace with his technical prowess, and even dropped him in the third round. The majority of fans and experts think he won the fight. Dana White is yet to comment on Ngannou's performance in his boxing debut, which has raised speculations that maybe the UFC president is mad about how the entire situation unfolded. However, one of Dana's top employees, Daniel Cormier, thinks otherwise.
See Junior Dos Santos, Izzy, Kamaru, the legend Chuck Liddell, Randy Couture. So many great mixed martial artists were in attendance last weekend to watch Francis Ngannou do something that was unprecedented, was unexpected, and really did turn out better than anyone ever could have expected. You know, there's this idea that the UFC is upset that Francis Ngannou did what he did. Why would they be? Francis Ngannou uplifted the entire sport last weekend. Francis Ngannou went out there as a mixed martial arts world champion and fought the lineal heavyweight champion of the world and lost by split decision.
Perhaps all the names that Cormier mentioned, including a couple currently signed with the UFC, also hope to bag big boxing paydays, but Dana White may not allow it. Why? But before we find out why, please take a moment to subscribe to Take Down MMA and turn on those notifications. Thank you. Dana White didn't allow Francis Ngannou to live his boxing dream while he was in the UFC, even though he was the heavyweight champion, who technically is the baddest man on the planet. So, what makes anyone think he'd allow the likes of Israel Adesanya and Kamaru Usman, both non-champions at the moment, to box? That's the question Dan Hardy raises.
I do feel like the UFC in particular, like Dana is a boxing fan. I think he was intrigued by that because he felt like Conor was something quite special and he might be able to just do something, as well as obviously, they made a bunch of cash out of it. But then, if you look at someone like a Sean O'Malley or a John Jones, he doesn't want to take that risk. You remember when he took Chuck Liddell over to Pride and Rampage beat him up? It's that kind of burned him, I feel, and he's been very, very reluctant to risk breaking his toys in other people's promotions. I think he's going to do everything he can to stop people doing it.
Whether Dana likes it or not, Hardy thinks Ngannou has opened the floodgates and more fighters will challenge the UFC's hegemony.
I also think now people are going to have the courage and confidence to see Ngannou go into free agency, recognize that maybe the grass is potentially greener elsewhere. The money's certainly greener elsewhere, I can tell you that. And, we'll see a few more people working their way out their contract.
Now, if you're an MMA fighter and you're willing to transition to boxing, you must keep in mind that the standard of judging in boxing is worse than what we regularly see in MMA. For example, the boxing match between Francis Ngannou and Tyson Fury was razor close, but one judge scored 96-93 in the Gypsy King's favor. According to Joe Rogan, the judge who scored it that way should be jailed. And I quote, Francis Ngannou had never had a boxing match ever in his life, had 0 boxing matches, but he was the UFC heavyweight champion, knocked down Tyson Fury in the 3rd round, beat him up in the 8th round. Most people, including me, thought he should have won the decision, including most boxers and most boxing pundits. He lost by 1 point on one judge's scorecard. He won on one judge's scorecard, and another judge, who should go to jail, had it 96-93 for Tyson Fury, which is f***ing outrageous. We thought Fury was going to run him over because he's the boxing heavyweight champion. There's no way this guy can box with me. He even said at the beginning of the fight, it's time to go to school. And then Francis said at the end of the fight, you are a shitty professor. Does Joe Rogan have a point? What do you guys think? Now, let's lighten the mood up a bit by checking out how the MMA world celebrated Halloween. Max Holloway and his family embraced their inner anime characters. Dustin Poirier and his family channeled the eerie charm of the Addams Family. Demetrius Johnson turned into the chaos-inducing Joker. Carla Esparza stepped into the shoes of Wonder Woman, radiating strength and grace. And Marlon Vera and his family dressed up as the Jetsons. However, stealing the spotlight was the son of Gilbert Burns' friend, who brilliantly impersonated UFC standout Sean O'Malley. This kid is certainly the undisputed champion of Hollywood cosplay. To further lighten up the mood, we have a Derrick Lewis update for you guys. The Black Beast seems unfazed by his recent arrest on reckless driving charges, even after allegedly being caught driving at a stunning 136 miles per hour in a 50 mile per hour zone in Houston. Just days away from his main event fight with Jailton Almeida at UFC Sao Paulo, the 38-year-old heavyweight addressed the incident that occurred on October 25th when he was pulled over while driving a Lamborghini in his hometown. Following his arrest, Lewis was released on a $100 personal recognizance bond, with his next court date scheduled for December 27th. While Lewis has legal representation handling his case, it appears that he might be adopting the classic Shaggy defense when the time comes to address the charges, suggesting he may deny or downplay the allegations.
We saw the news that came yesterday about what happened in Houston. Would you like to say something?
Nah, I don't even think that was me. Nah, that guy had hair. You seen the picture? I don't got no hair. That ain't me.
What do you guys think? Moving on, why didn't Stipe Miocic get an interim title shot? The big man was supposed to challenge John Jones in a heavyweight clash at UFC 295, but unfortunately the consensus GOAT pulled out due to an injury. The UFC decided to make an interim title fight between rising stars Sergey Pavlovich and Tom Aspinall. Recently, Miocic said that he doesn't understand why he wasn't asked to fight for the interim belt. Although Dana White had said that it was out of respect for the consensus heavyweight GOAT, the real reason has been revealed by Big John McCarthy.
First off, his age.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest, okay? At that age, they're looking and saying, you're not the guy that, we can build on. Yes, you have been our champion before, and yes, you have the longest run as the heavyweight champion, and we want to use that to sell a fight, but we don't think that we can continue on selling fights with it and having people excited about it. So first thing is his age.
And the scary part is I think for them is that he'll win the interim title. John's not back when he needs him to be, and he'll just walk away saying, well, I actually kind of won the title before I left. You just weren't ready to fight. Then it starts just causing a little bit of a haze over all that thing.
Does Big John McCarthy make sense? We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please share them in the comment section below. To ensure that you don't miss out on the most recent developments in the worlds of boxing and mixed martial arts, make sure to subscribe to Takedown MMA and activate those notification alerts. Your support means a lot. Thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to having you join us in our next video.